Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Let's talk data validation. What is data validation? It's a means to restrict certain output. It is a ribbon-driven function within the data arrangement. So look at data, go over to data validation. You can input your criteria there. Okay, here's what we're working with. Use data validation with custom formula based on the sum function to permit only values that don't exceed a specific sum. Here we have travel. We're flying somewhere, okay? Here are the rules. Do not exceed $1,000. So your budget is right here. If you try to exceed $1,000, all heck's going to break loose. No. Go ahead and type in 151. You're going to get this error. So that's all data validation does. How do we go about putting it in? Here is the criteria. You can put anything you want into data validation. All we're saying is we're going to sum up this data. At any point in time you exceed that $1,000, we're going to stop your input. That's all it is. Data validation is triggered whenever that rule is broken. Okay. When a user adds or edits a cell value, data validation rules are activated. In this example, we want a formula that will trigger data validation in the event that we exceed the $1,000. We use the sum function to calculate the sum of a given range, given that we have $1,000 max. Anything less than $1,000, we're good. The range C5 to C9 is entered as absolute references to avoid the references from changing. What are we looking at? We need to enter the data validation parameters. To do this correctly, after I make these changes, here I'm just going to duplicate it because there's a data validation already in place. That's why it was triggered. Well, let's pretend we're doing this for the first time. Data validation, you click it. Here's the fastest and easiest way to do it. We want to first highlight the range, highlight the list, highlight the numbers, whatever you want to refer to it as. Then we want to go to data validation. You can do one or two things here. You can copy this, edit copy, but remember, if you're going to do this, be sure to highlight this information after the data validation, So now you're going to have a bunch of choices here. Settings, we have any value. We're going to go to custom. But you can throw in these other parameters, but they're limited. So we're just going to go custom. We're going to go ignore blanks, and we're just going to paste. We're going to paste that information in. Then we are going to ignore the input message, but you can put whatever you want in here. In other words, whatever you're trying to accomplish. So whoever might have to change this down the road, there's some information here. So you can put your title in there, and then your input message would be don't exceed $1,000. I did it here externally. Okay. And then the error alert, you can say over budget, change your budget, whatever you want. So there you go. Now, what happens? There's a data validation here, but it didn't do what I wanted it. So go here, go hit data validation. This is what kind of pisses me off. This right here, apply these changes to other cells within the same setting. Well, that should have been active as soon as I entered this first round. Go back here, hit data validation, and see now once you enter this criteria, you can say apply these changes to other cells with the same settings. I don't know if this will work. Well, let's see. Data validation, and see, it's a two-step process. Otherwise, you can just copy it down. No, you just can't copy it down. You have to either do it this way or you have to manually enter them for each cell. So I always recommend apply these changes to all other cells, but highlight the cells, then hit the apply. But data validation's in place. If you exceed it, it's going to trigger. To get rid of the thing, you have to go back into data val. You can't just in here and hit delete. Okay, I'm right there. I hit delete. And now if I go to data validation, it's going to laugh. It's going to go, ha, ha, ha. Sorry, you can't get rid of it that way. So what you can do is hit clear all. And here's the deal. Apply these changes to other cells with the same settings. I kind of just smirkle there because you have to delete the first one and then you have to hit clear all after the fact. Clear all, but it's not doing what I want it to do. Data validation is probably gone, probably deleted in the first. Okay, let's see if it cleared everything. Data validation. Okay, the data validation cleared everything. What I like to do occasionally is I'll go find and select, go to special, and see if there's any data validation. All you have to do is hit this data validation, all, and it's going to search, and it better find the 4 that I had inserted before, and we could see the other was deleted. That's data validation, not exceeding $1,000. Just keep in mind the structural inputs. Remember this formula. All you're doing is inputting that into the custom format. Brad Williams, XL Prime.